called Meri video program, a development initiative of the Media Council of Papua New Guinea, a joint initiative of the government of PNG and Australia with funding assistance from OSAID.
Women and girls in Papua New Guinea are being challenged in securing better employment, participating meaningfully in any decision making, and contributing to the economy in business activities. They are no different to million others around the world. But these women certainly do have the potential to do better, as demonstrations show. Women worldwide are supported by a declaration of human rights to eliminate all forms of discrimination against women. Dr. Jackie Badcock is the resident representative of United Nations in Papua New Guinea.
Challenges faced by women around the world are many and varied. I'd like to highlight a few. One of them is their role in decision making and a role in business or the workplace. Of all the people representing governments in the world, only 16.9% of them are women. In Papua New Guinea, it's less than 1%. You have one woman out of 109 parliamentarians. It is very challenging for women to sort of break through a dominance of men in society and get into politics. And the way that it has been overcome in the autonomous Bougainville government is to legislate for 3 seats, especially for women. And I believe that in Papua New Guinea that is also needed in the national parliament. Access to education is limited again in many developing countries of the world. In developed countries, women have access to both primary, secondary and tertiary education and ongoing education in the course of their lives. In developing countries, very few women even get to secondary or tertiary, and very frequently there's a high dropout even of primary level.
All governments of the world support this and develop policies that support gender equity in development. This includes Papua New Guinea. While the government's priority on women and their activities is clear, activities differ.
I think we have to really accept the fact that for many women, I think things are worse now than they were traditionally. Some women have had opportunities and are advancing. I think for a large number of women, their life is actually harder. They've got more responsibilities and less protective customs in any way, and the government systems, if we are really honest, brutally honest about it, are not protecting women in the way they should, or even not protecting vulnerable groups in the way that they should.
Women finding jobs are made difficult by the country's cultural influences. It is also made difficult by the employment opportunities provided by the government and the private sector. Nancy and Irene are pilots of the military in Papua New Guinea Defence Force, a job they now enjoy.
I first went up to MAF again, but because there was no female pilot in the country at that time, I think they hesitated a bit, and it took me about 5 months, and I never even got onto an aircraft.
Nancy, after flying commercial planes for more than 12 years, is the first female pilot the country has ever produced. Growing up in a remote village outside Barnes in the Western Highlands province, she has had to cope with peer pressure at the village, the school and the college and other institutions she attended.
Well, as again, it has been tough, growing up in the Highlands and going to school. I think people didn't quite much believe in as girls going to school. They believed that girls should stay back home and get married and look after families and stuff like this. So it was a bit tough. And in class as well, you have little boys chasing you here and there, telling you to go to the back of the classroom because, females were insignificant. So my uncles and other guys in the village believed that if I had married, I would bring them back big bride prices and stuff. So they got me engaged and stuff, but my dad was totally against it.
They will come. Men will come later. Put your career first. Put yourself, secure yourself first. And then men will come. Men will always come.
According to Irene and Nancy, they do not feel inferior among the male colleagues and command them. Their commanding officers speak highly of them to say that they perform better than the male colleagues.
Well, as officers, they've conduct the direct entry officers course and they perform very well as officers. As pilot, we've completed the first stage of training below 3 blur, including one lady. We're going to the advanced phase of training now. And so far, very good. I'm quite impressed with the performance of Nancy especially.
Because they've never had females, they didn't think we would be flying as well as them. Being males, it has been tough getting in. But once we've settled up, I guess Irene and I have earned their respect. Now they respect us and they treat us like one of them. And I should say he's very, very supportive. He helps us a lot.
We can fly planes, you can do it too. The challenge for women to take part in the decision making is becoming increasingly difficult, except for a few. In this traditional society, women have, however, shown that they can effectively manage the day-to-day welfare of a family. Combined, all women can be able to manage communities and the country. Only a few have been able to win the confidence of men and other women folk to actively take part in decision-making at all levels. Lady Carol Kidu is now the only voice in the National Parliament among 108 male parliamentarians.
The fact that I am actually 0.9% of the Parliament of Papua New Guinea, I'm not even 1% of the Parliament of Papua New Guinea, shows that obviously there is a major problem of getting women into political decision making. But it's not that alone, it's in all areas of decision making. With women out there in decision making, I'd like them to really think about what they're wanting to do, why they want to go into politics. If they're wanting to be doing on the ground things with their people, they should be looking at the council level.
Nahau Rooney became the first woman to win a national election as the member for Manus, while Annie Mowads has become the first premier of a province. Lady Kidu's success to Parliament was different and still remains. Nahau Rooney's success to Parliament started as a councillor of a ward in the National Capital District.
Even though I was lecturing, I began to see you can talk as a teacher, as an engineer, as a geologist, as a professor. You can do anything, but your talking means nothing unless and until you sit in a room that say yes or no. That when you say yes, it happens. When you say no, it doesn't happen. And that's when my conclusion was the only way that we can make the difference is politics is the means to get into that chair that will say yes or no. And so that's my interest in politics came up. After having done all these bringing the water into Morata, the school into Gerehu, police into Gerehu was my making, and the primary school in Gerehu, because I was living there. And that's when the then Pangu party said, Naha, why don't you stand for the election? And I said, what election? They said, yeah, council, urban city. And I said, oh, okay, what do I do then? They said, no, you just say yes and we'll do the campaign and everyone else will do that for you. And I said, okay. And that was it. 1974, I stood for the election and I became the member for North West. I represent Gerehu and Waigani in the urban council. And that was my introduction. But at least in my mind, I said, well, now, not everybody can be in a decision-making process, but you might as well work for the person that you can influence. So you don't have to be in it to say yes or no, but give the advice that he or she will say yes or no. So I enjoy working for Somare. I do a lot of research. I work in the committee, with the committee preparing the constitution prior independence, helping to bring the team of the members of parliament that time for us to go into independence. And that requires a lot of energy, a lot of mobilizing and organizing to bring people to agree even before they get into the assembly. So that's another process that I discovered. You don't have to be on that chair to say yes or no. You can be a worker and an advisor that influence the decision making. So I started again on that for 3 years. 1977, we went out. I simply went out and said to them, my message was that I've been there, I've worked for the government, I want to be in it to make decisions that affect us. And that was 2 years after independence, so the excitement about redirecting Papua New Guinea in the right direction was really the message that everyone wanted to see. So for me, it was creating a nation that is only 2 years old and we have to do everything in our time.
Growing up in the Makam Valley with a Lutheran background, Annie Mohards became the first women premier of the province of Morobe. Being the leader of more than 500,000 people with different ethnic backgrounds, she had to endure the pressure from her male colleagues and the people.
Na time misanapi I'm first time ro desa tribe one Meri by can work in the second so ka plenty talk backside, plenty criticism more man to a candidate or sanap kind talk. Now you see this example bro sing. Ni lo maka mi pla sing e more man mas sing go pass to pla Meri bro sing dia. You know na pon pla Meri mas come na sing go pass. So this a kind challenge come up. As a woman, I had to respect myself. Okay. First thing, you have to have respect for yourself, and this goes to all the Papua New Guinea women. And you must have a principle to stand by. Suppose you know that principle, and you are manipulated, and you are spoon-fed, you go astray. Plenty of man, or he come, or somebody kimpasin, how administration is run, or compare him, or somebody want a man. Because me also Meri na management blow me or family blow me na household blow me and be different long or man. So time me run him gaman and me work him one kind or me run him house blow me.
Diana Teka Hulka is no ordinary woman in Kundiawa, the provincial capital of Simbu province. Diana inherited the leadership from her father, something unheard of in the Highlands tradition, where men inherit leadership.
Now me start also after this all blessings, mix him all family now tumbona line ikam, and first leadership and me take him inside and me come up council with this ward. Ward 5, me start also leader blo community, start blo house line, blo tribe blo me tayaku, me start na inside lo this time me start leadership mix him. Lo mediation, lo talk house line, lo sali Meri, lo any people event them come up.
Diana beat 17th man in the local level government council election. Every person that has run into any sort of problem knows they has counsel Meri. She has intervened in difficult and tense situations between rival tribes and ethnic groups and continues today as a women leader and peacemaker.
Hello.
According to Diana, there are no secrets to winning a local level government election.
Mixim 743, na 16 man candidate and Mibla Sana Bolxim 100, like below. One black second, lo mixim 101. So leadership is something that is also built in you, and you have to work towards it, and you have to pave way for your leadership. What I mean is, you have to aim to become a leader. You have to work hard towards it. You have to show your good deeds, and you have to be involved and know people, because people made you become leaders. So you have to know your people, and also you have to be with them at their good times, at their bad times, and to understand people. If you understand them, they will understand you better, and they are the people that will make you become leader.
Most men, who are often described as breadwinners, in most cases do not provide. Women are often forced to look after their children and their households in an ordinary rural family.
Men don't see details. Like on a smaller scale, village-oriented tourism, I think women would be more successful at it than men, because of the women are family-oriented and they have an eye for detail and keeping things in order, and you have to be sensitive to the needs of the customer. I think that's where I was successful.
Maggie Wilson is a filmmaker and is passionate for nature. She now owns and manages one of the finest hotels in Mount Hagen City. The challenges of becoming a successful businesswoman depends on many factors.
Late 70s, when my foreign friends, they came, they thought they admired my village and they said that it was beautiful. From there I started a guest house, and I built that place up, House Borman Lodge. And because, on the job I taught myself the trade, now I'm looking after Hotel Borman in town now.
While Maggie is not a millionaire, she does command the respect among businessmen and women not only in the province, but the country for her contribution to the tourism industry. Despite being a member of the international community, the country still needs to recognize the importance of women as equal partners and contributors to development.
Mipla ol Meri, mipla ol partner ol man to lo development, so mipla promote him gender. Mipla promote him gender equality, because mipla thing was mipla need him all men folks. Now all men folks all need him mipla too. Na mipla need him 2 hands. Lokisim walking one bla walk or one bla dreaman mipla tinti lo come up him. Time you look him one bla mama leader, plan the time all man no got believe na trust the leadership all Meri. But mila talk strong all same. You me yet must build him up. That's la strong you me got inside lo mipla.
Papua New Guinean women are now venturing into the traditional men's world. Girls and women are now being employed in high offices. Nancy and Irene are two classical examples. They are prepared to defend the country in times of war or terror.
Sometimes people say, no, women have to prove themselves in their own right. But I find that a very strange argument, because do we say men must prove themselves in their own right? And we don't, really. I mean, there is usually an imbalance there, so we have to work on that. And if we make the laws proactive, well, then it will happen, and then the public and all sectors of society will get used to the fact that women are in decision-making.
In the decision-making place, whether it is at the local, provincial, or national government, women are making the presence felt.
Everybody has something to contribute in society. Why would we be 50% men and 50% women if we weren't supposed to have different roles that complement each other? Women don't expect to replace men. They expect to work with men.
I have also discovered more about power. Having been into actual men's house, I could see that my being a member of parliament in the context of Melanesian and our custom is like, oh, this girl, this woman really has broke into the men's house. She is now witnessing and is part of the game that the men play. And then I discover what that is all about. Because I am coming from what I believe the role of a leader, a visionary leader, a committed leader, a chief who is committed to serve and represent the people. But my getting into cabinet, my getting into the parliament, and then witnessing, and not only witnessing, but participating in the games that the men play in order to win power, they could see me that, oh, I became a threat. So I am now, perhaps, will be identified and be seen as any man, no longer the girl and the daughter of Manus that I once was. I am playing a real power game, and that became a threat.
Today a woman can do anything that men can do. In some cases they can even do it better. In particular, today we have in particular the tourism industry. Like I said, because they make the home, they have that natural gift for keeping the guest house or hotels in order and clean. But women now can fly the planes like the men. They can also build buildings, and a woman have all the, they can be motor mechanics. There's no limit to what a woman can do. The sky's the limit.
This is a traditional strength that can be built upon and supported by all levels of government and the private sector.
The government doesn't provide options for them. I mean, to start somewhere, there should be training or awareness that women can do things. This is talking about the rural woman. Educated women are okay. And there's no funding available. We've got to start somewhere. And there's no funding available, and with cash crops and that, women have to bring it in from the villages into the urban areas, and that's difficult. In some cases there's no roads, and there's no training on how to package your food so it's fresh when you take it to the marketplace, like in the urban areas.
The issue of the economic empowerment of women is extremely important. If a woman is economically dependent on a man and in a situation of violence, she is extremely vulnerable. Because if you're relying on a man to feed your children and you're in a violent relationship, you really have no option to leave. Some people say, well, why doesn't she leave? But if you're economically dependent, often you don't have an option to leave a violent situation. So I believe very much in the importance of the economic empowerment of women. And the more we economically empower women, the more we will reduce issues such as prostitution and those areas where people often turn to out of desperation.
Time or money got trust from me, got believe from me also Meri, long can lead him gaman. This time was a memi of him doa. Long or money look several long on Meri. So meeting long me time is a premier meeting or sem. So pas money got trust na believe long or Meri long can go pass a big power for sem. This say of him doa long plenty Meri way. Or he start blow backside. Now he reluctant or come forward. Or he can, or he can come forward now, participate long or decision making na kind of sem. Now, there's a two me of him do along on Meri too, okay? I think now we have a chance, and now we have opportunity. Now our man bro you also is something thing. And now we get a walk now we no bro man tasona, and bro man na Meri one thing. Yeah.
Because of Meri too, we got role on playing on the map and what plan you play Bougainville, plan you play you me, if you man long the time through. So again, me talk survey, na me ask you over the man again, please look and losing thing. Me from Meri inside of Bougainville got role on playing, inside long kind of activities, whether you big or little inside long Bougainville.
In 20 years time this is, Crown Plaza in Mount Hagen, prime location. And I would see more towns in the districts that everybody is busy doing something. And that because everybody is busy, there will be law and order.
Leadership is about commitment and for me, I'm still happy today whether I'm in power or not. I'm still now how I am yesterday, today, and forever will be the same person.
If only men can give space, and they said, women, we are all partners in development. As our number 2 constitution says, equal partners, or equal opportunity, or what is it? Equal participation. But it's not happening, and we women are crying in wilderness. It's only men that will give us chance to work side by side. It's not that we women would like to walk over them, but
lifestyle, blomi play, senislik yet. Na all mama get planning more heavy yet. Lo side lo work him all work lo try him lo help him provide lo or some sustain him household lo. Na same time he looking mo some health living standards lo me plan no improve yet. Plan is sick lo stop yet inside lo house line.
If you educate a man, you educate an individual. If you educate a woman, you tend to educate the nation. Women are so important in society in so many aspects that if you educate that woman, she can play an even bigger role in all her functions, and therefore you educate more than just that woman.
I feel that because I employ people and I'm located in the village area, I should have been given some support by the government, at least to ensure that the infrastructure is in order. But that's not the case. Yeah, that's the case with a lot of rural-oriented business. We have a lot of people with initiative who start things, but the government doesn't ensure that these businesses are developed.
Women are multitaskers, as we would say in Western culture. We do many things and manage many balls in the air at one time. And so I think that immediately it gives them a success rate in business. They have to manage household expenditure and income. So that immediately gives them an advantage of how to manage a business. I think the other thing is that the women who do get into business are so much more determined to succeed.
Women need to be given the opportunity to participate meaningfully in decision making at all levels, participation in economic activities, and be given equal opportunities in employment. Only then will we see stable communities, improved provinces, and a developed country.